What's up, gang? Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And it is time to revisit Solana, SOL. We've got some interesting price action that is going on here, and I'm so excited to talk about this today. Special shout out to Moosha, the gentleman who made a comment in the last video who said, "Your technical analysis is just terrible. It's terrible. I mean, you made that video and SOL just shot straight on up." Well, I've been trolling him since that comment, and he hasn't said anything since we went from this point down to this point, which is currently at the same level of the previous video where I talked about the probabilities of where SOL would go in the short term, which included going back up to this volume node at 161, which it did do that, and it went above it, okay? I said that we were going to be sliding into this volume node at 141. I think we were right about here. We were somewhere around 151 when I shot that video, and we did slide into 141. After that point, I said that we would either get snapped back up to this volume node at 160, or we would head down to the next step, which is at 116. So here we are at the price of 139 with a lot of blood in the streets. The market's going down, and we'll break down the chart here on the 4-hour and the 1-day very quickly. Let's get rid of that. So here we are on the 4-hour chart, and as we can see, we have touched upon the 200 EMA line right there, the 200 exponential moving average based on the 4-hour chart. And now, well, we moved up and then back down again. It snapped back down. I don't see momentum bringing us back up here to the 50 EMA line, even though we do have a crossover here with the stochastic. It's not a very strong crossover yet at this point, and it's coupled with more bearish oscillator pattern here on the MACD, as the lagging MACD oscillators are divergent and moving in a southerly direction as we are printing candles in the red, or printing bars in the red on the histogram. So what could happen here if this crossover if it can hang out strong? It could mean that we go back to this point here on the VPVR where the volume node crosses in at 142, but I don't know if there's enough momentum to snap us all the way back up here to 161, only because the market overall is headed down south. It looks like this correction is across the board, and when everything is going down, we kind of have to go with what we know, which is the fact that we got downward momentum. So I'm thinking the highest probability is that we sail down at least back down here to the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. But we can look at the 1-day chart and get a little bit better of an idea of where we're going, or how strong this stochastic cycle could be, if it maybe could go all the way back up here to overbought, or if it's going to peter out and stay down here and drop below that oversold boundary at the 20 line. So let's jump to the 1-day and see what we can see. With the 1-day chart here, let's zoom in a little bit more. We can see that the downward momentum is definitely intact. All right, so coming off of this peak here, we're at a very definite, this is a very definitive angle here as we're headed right towards the 50 EMA line, which gives us this little volume node right here. It just magically kind of coincides where that 116 is right here. And if we kind of draw a line and extend the 50, if the 50 comes out of here, it's going to roll down a little bit. Okay, so by the time the 50 rolls over and we get to that point, they're going to magically coincide. And that's why I think that this is a very strong possibility that we could end up right there within the next, say, day or two, maybe 3 days if the downward momentum continues. Now, what is the stochastic telling us? Well, here it is. We saw that the fast line, the %K, touched the %D, the slow line, but then it diverged. You see how it just touched it, and then now they're coming back apart. It's not a big divergence, but it's enough to tell us that at least on the 1 day, the momentum is still down. Now, when you couple that with this MACD, where the oscillators are definitely in a downtrend, we've had that crossover right here. We have serious divergence between the %K and the %D. We have negative bars being printed on the histogram. Overall momentum is going down. Coupled with the fact that the whole market is going down, we'll probably continue into that direction. Now, after the highest probability of hitting this volume node at 116, which still may not happen, that's all I have to go by. It's just a guess. This is not financial advice. And don't come jumping in the comments if it picks back up and say, well, you said it was going to go down to 116 and boy, your TA is just horrible. Well, if my TA is horrible, I want you to post a video and I want you to predict this better than I can, because I'm not trying to predict. I'm trying to shine a light in the forest and go by the evidence that is presented before us. This is right before our face. It's all we have to go by. Well, anyway, if we fail this 50 EMA, I'm kind of scared of how far down this 200 is. And this 200 is going to do something like, whoops, that's an arrow. Let's get a line. Let's extend this 200. The 200, that's still an arrow. You big dummy. Let's try that again. Here we go. Let's extend this out. It's going to start to curl down because it's going to start picking up and averaging in this slide. And then as this is going down, if this coincides with, say, the volume node here at 75, who knows? Maybe I've got that going a little too aggressively down. Let's try this again. Let's go something like this, and I always see this play out where if you can just kind of project where these lines are going to meet and where this is going to go after this information is averaged in, because it's the previous 200 days, and then you get an average. So you don't see the downward momentum kicking in on this average line until quite a time after this peak and reversal in the price action has occurred. And so the next possibility would be, if we fail this, we could come down here to the 200, and that would put us right at possibly the thick of this volume node that sits at about $74. Now, as for me, I'm going to DCA at that point. I'm going to pick it up. I've only got one SOL, and I bought at 157 just to get myself in the line so I would not say slack off and not pay attention to what's going on. But when you're doing the DCA game, that just means dollar cost average. It means buy all the way down and bring your average down. So at least you started somewhere. So I'm going to DCA in this whole area here. Now, God forbid, if it goes back to 34, which I don't see happening, I would still be buying at that point. It wouldn't hurt to pick up one a month or one on every paycheck or something like that. You do what you're going to do. I'll do what I'm going to do. It's not financial advice, but I want to be in line because I believe that this project is significant. And when you can process 400 transactions per second? I can't remember. I think it is. I think that this offers a very viable option to the Ethereum blockchain while the ETH gas fees are super high. And I see people gravitating toward this. I don't think it'll ever overtake ETH, but I think that this is a low point and that we have some serious future price potential with SOL. I've looked into this a lot, and I like what I'm hearing with what they're doing, and I listen to the opinions of other people who know more about this than me. I combine that with the TA, and then I make my decisions. That's how I work it. So we're going to DCA. We're going to see what happens, and hope for the best. So post your comments below and let me know what you think about the probabilities. Will we hold the 50, or are we going to drop to the 200? Or are you one of these folks that says, well, you're all wrong and your TA is crap. It's going to shoot straight on out of here and go straight to the moon? Let me know. I'll be curious to hear it. Post your comments below. Keep on keeping on. Keep hope alive, and we can do this thing. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me. Peace out.